Hello, everyone. For some reason, people have been wanting. Know the recipe for my wheat coffee. I'm gonna give it to you right now. Hello, everyone. For some reason, people have been wanting to know the recipe for my wheat coffee. I'm gonna give it to you right now. I'm gonna give it to you right now. This is what I do. I'll take some Folgers, put it in there, a little bit of sugar, put it in there, a little bit of creamer, put it in there. Boy, doesn't that taste good. Take some Folgers, that much, a little bit of sugar, well, that much, a little bit of creamer, turn it on and make it. Boy, doesn't that taste shit. It's up to 4 cups to 3.5 scoops.
Tastes like shit.
Right there's the amount that I put it in. Or for 4 cups of coffee. Go ahead, stir it and drink. Go ahead, stir it and drink. Let's turn on with this, my coffee. Boy, doesn't that taste good.
No!
I can drink it all night long. It does not keep me awake. Let's turn on with this, my coffee. Boy, doesn't that taste good.
No!
And I will show you the places that I said no in that chat room.
What?
Hello, everyone. For some reason, people have been wanting to know the places that I said no in that chat room. I'm going to give it to you right now. Well, I'm going to give it to you right now. So, let's concentrate on the coffee. Take some Folgers, put it in there, a little bit of sugar, put it in there, a little bit of creamer, put it in there. Boy, doesn't that taste good. Take some Folgers, that much, a little bit of sugar, well, that much, a little bit of creamer, turn it on and make it. Boy, doesn't that taste
shit.
It's up to 4 cups to 3.5 scoops.
Tastes like shit.
Right there's the amount that I put it in. Or for 4 cups of coffee. Go ahead, stir it and drink. Go ahead, stir it and drink. Let's turn on with this, my coffee. Boy, doesn't that taste good.
No!
I can drink it all night long. It does not keep me awake. Let's turn on with this, my coffee. Boy, doesn't that taste good.
No!
For all of you that want to criticize my coffee, go ahead.
This coffee smells like shit.
If you don't like my coffee, don't drink it. It's that simple.
Okay.
Some of you do really think of some really dumb things to say about some really, really dumb things.
You have 357 voicemails that sound exactly like the Beatles used to sound.
I want you to show me. I want to feel loving. I know you. Listen, I can go to there.
All right, hello everybody. Thanks for coming out to this exciting stream tonight. It is the third Cawd bar, and I'm very happy to bring it back. With me, I have 5 people with me on stream today, 4 friends. It'll be up to you guys to determine who is the non-friend. Thank you for everybody coming. It'll be hard to say hello to everybody in the chat just because we'll be talking all night. So just a blanket hello to everybody. So I guess to bring on my guests, the first guest is Evil Little McNuggets.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. My next guest is Good and You Lifestyle Guru.
Hi, sir.
Hello, sir.
What's going on?
What's up?
Yo, I love that little ending part. Looks and sounds just like the Beatles. That's so great.
It's like Jamie's cousin or something, like throwing in another robot voice. Up next, we have.
Also, am I one of the 4?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
I can say
Never
for
mind.
sure you are one of the 4, so don't worry.
Okay. Good. Thank God.
The next guest I have is was you. It is CyberSqueak.
It's me. I'm the not friend.
It's me, Winnie. Well, you weren't
It's
supposed
me,
to spoil
Winnie.
it. They were supposed to figure it out on their own.
Hold on, let them figure it.
Let me figure it. And the next person is Reerg Comedy.
Next to last.
Next to last. You didn't introduce me first. You got the biggest name in the TCAP community. You introduced me next to last.
I'm sorry, those 3 subscribers you had. I should have, thought more. And, all right, I guess that's it. I don't think there's anybody else that we have to introduce. Oh, wait a minute.
I think there is.
Oh, jeez. All J's. We have the...
Hello, it's me, Cornville3way, back at it again.
Oh no!
No, it's it's the dead cat of the Cawd bar. It's Cornville3way.
This is racism. Everyone can out there listening. I am being...
Sure, buddy.
This is a racism.
Hello
everyone.
Hello. It was a little cross promotion because in order to get the dead cat thing, you'll have to be listening to me and Cornville's football channel. So please consider subscribing.
Which it was a perfect reference to make, seeing that episode isn't even up yet, and we've got it's a little, it's 4 people that listen. So that was perfect. Everyone's going to be like, oh, I fully get that. Great joke, Slash.
Well, I actually listened to it 4 times, so you have 1 listener. And
Thanks, Eel.
Well, technically,
you're welcome.
Technically, Eel, if I was announcing it in Australia, you would be second, not second to last. So, is that a good compromise?
Well, no, I'd still be second to last, but I'd be upside down. So that would be even worse.
But if you looked at the list upside down,
oh my god.
That would be backwards. See, he doesn't know Cornville. He doesn't get Australian.
He doesn't get Australia at all.
All right, so this is kind of a continuation of our Lorne Miss stream that we had. Man, that was fucking like 3 weeks ago already. That was nuts. That we had over on Cornville3way's channel.
That was so much fun.
And yeah, so
that was amazing.
Yeah, we wanted to continue the fun we're having. So tonight, like the title says, everybody here sort of brought something that we can discuss. Kind of, theories is the best word that I thought described it, but sort of things in Lorne's life that I think we can sort of talk about and give our opinions on what actually happened. So I'm pretty excited because there's a lot of things came up in our Lorne Miss stream that we sort of wanted to talk about, but we were there listening to a call, so we couldn't really get into it that much. So we thought that this was a good place to do it. So I guess to kick it off is CyberSqueak. So what have you brought for us to discuss today?
So I have the no shit theory in that something, very obviously something happened with Paula, and it's not what Lorne said it is. He is very insistent on having some kind of connection with her, and the way he puts it is, well, she came to my house and I fucked her, and then she called her boyfriend and she left. Which no woman would fucking do that. If they wanted to cheat on their boyfriend, first off, they wouldn't choose Lorne.
No.
And second off, they wouldn't call their boyfriend to be like, hey, I was cheating on you, come get me. Like, the fuck? So I don't know entirely what... I mean, obviously, I'm not Lorne. I don't know what happened. But the way I think it went down is maybe they were all hanging out and, they all had to go somewhere except for Paula and Lorne, and, they were drinking. And maybe Paula was like, hey, Lorne, I'm not really feeling too good. I'm going to go lay down. Do you care if I lay in your bed? And he probably, being the fucking weirdo he is, was like, of course you can lay in my bed. I'll lay with you.
And he took that as the first move, because he was like, I didn't make the first
nightmare.
Move, she laid in my bed. Just the act of laying in his bed means, hey, you want to fuck?
Yeah.
Making eye contact.
Yes, making eye contact.
Breathing near him.
Just making eye contact. Yeah.
He was fucking gawking at me.
So yeah, I suspect she was probably intoxicated, wanted to lay down. Lorne was a weirdo and followed after her, and maybe she cuddled with Lorne if we're going by any kind of truth to his story. But at the same time, most people don't view cuddling as inherently sexual, so it could have just been a situation of I'm drunk and I want to cuddle with somebody. And then I guess he took that as, you know,
and then
she wants to
his
fuck.
Pants and he lost
Yeah,
his
yeah. No, I think I think he took that as a sign that like, oh, she's interested, and like tried to make a move on her, and she was like, nope, I am leaving. And he was so embarrassed about it that like it's just he can't live it down.
He does bring up that I mean I believe Casey more than I believe Lorne in what he says. So Casey says at one point, because in the call that we just listened to, it was we fucked, and it doesn't even say that he finished. It's like he fucked her from behind, and then she got up and left, and then
I love that in his fantasy he gave himself blue balls.
Right.
He can't even finish.
Right. He doesn't even say he finished. And so then Casey goes, you told me before you talked for hours. And he was like, it weren't for hours. But I believe Casey when they say you said hours before. So it is like there is always that little nugget of truth that Lorne has in every story, but he then warps
I am the
it.
nugget of truth.
You are the nugget of truth. Yeah, the evil little McNugget of truth.
Evil little McNugget. I think at the very worst, like maybe she passed out and he was gonna try to take some kind of advantage of her.
Right.
And she woke up before that could happen, so that's why he didn't get to coom.
And the fact that he has that schoolboy mentality about a vagina, like it was so loose. It was the loosest one I've ever had. It felt like warm, wet air, which doesn't make any sense.
To be fair,
it doesn't make sense.
It was probably the loosest vagina he's ever had. If it's the only one, then by default, it has to be the
That's
loosest.
true.
So, maybe he wasn't lying.
It's a humid day.
Get out. I've been thinking about this and about him saying that, and for me, because he obviously hates Paula. Like, I mean, that's fair to say, right? And I think that I don't think that means he, actually was inside her to feel that or whatever. I think that is kind of the the slut shaming that misogynist assholes do. Like, he hates Paula. He views Paula as a catalyst for a lot of things that's gone wrong in his life. She was a fucking slut and that. So saying she was loose as that, the same as pretty much every asshole fucking male in history has ever done. Like, they want to discredit a woman, call her a whore or a slut. And so I think that's Lorne's version of that. Because he probably thinks to himself, that fucking slut, I bet she's loose as a fucking hallway, that kind of shit.
Like throwing a hot dog down the hallway.
Right.
I feel this might be cheating a little bit, but before I even knew what our topic was, I'd been watching Sean McClure videos, and he had some like secondhand information from folks about the Paula situation. And from that it seems like she was just someone who the family knew and she was around. And so what I think, and like they didn't have any sort of relationship. She had to change her name. Like there's all this shit that he did. And for me, I think that Lorne takes stories from movies or television shows or just kind of what he hears and adapts them to fit his own warped idea. So I don't even think like I don't even think he ever was in a bed with Paula. Like I don't believe any of it. Maybe he fantasized about that, or he had a friend or a brother who was talking about a sexual interaction they had, and he's just like, I'm gonna repurpose this for my story. And then again, gave himself blue balls in his fantasy. Bro, what are you doing? Why?
We can't even have a sexual fantasy properly.
And even in the newer documents in the newer call, I think he goes, well, the new girl moved into town and she were my brother's girlfriend first, and then she were mine.
Yep.
Like it's
God,
just because
yes.
they broke up, then Lorne's like, okay, I guess it's my turn, so we're like he doesn't.
Yeah.
If Lorne wants it, then that's reality. So it is funny how he's like, well, they broke up, so now I wanted her, so now we're boyfriend girlfriend, which isn't true. They probably never were, but yeah, I think there is. Like I said, nugget of truth as in maybe she came over, because I think Lorne at some point did live by himself in Washington State, but I think at times he lived with his brother. So she may have come over to hang out with her brother or his brother and her girlfriend or wife or whatever, and they weren't there.
Can I say something about that? So when he's talking to Will about the Paula situation,
you mean you?
He says, yeah, when I was talking to Lorne about this, he says that he met Paula. When he met Paula, he was living with his brother. And apparently, then when he had sex with her, he was living alone. But then later, she got together with another guy. Or when he was seeing Paula, he was living alone. And then in a house, that's important, in a house. And then he went back to live with his brother, and his brother invited Paula and her new boyfriend to a party at their house. Then Lorne was living in a house on his own when she came to his house and laid down on his bed, and they had sex there. But then also he had an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment.
Oh, God.
Because his nieces had to have their own bedroom in his 2-bedroom apartment.
It's almost
so
like
that
he's
doesn't
alive.
make any goddamn sense. Yeah, it's almost like it can't keep a story straight in just one
Oh
plain
my
story.
god.
Well, guys, I
that's
think.
the-
Oh, go
Go.
ahead. Sorry.
Here you go.
I was just gonna say, I think you guys are forgetting that Lorne has experience with people. I think he might be a little bit like Kayla, where she didn't really know what a garage was. So maybe he didn't know the difference between a house and an apartment.
Or whether or not he was living in his own house or his brother's house. And I don't know how he afforded a house on a vacuum cleaner salesman salary, but, you know.
Well,
he's
Mama,
human in
Mama
his
Gwen
ways.
bought them. That's
Right,
how it happened.
He
Yeah.
saw Armstrong on the lease, and he just assumed it was his.
And he
Mm.
calls up Paula, and he's like, "Remember how I said I lived in an apartment? I live in a house.
You don't, do you?
Don't do it. Yeah.
And see, the thing is, Lorne is such a compulsive liar, and he's lied so much. Like, I believe he doesn't know the full truth about things anymore. He's told so many different stories to himself and other people. So that's why we get a lot of these things where you're like, you know, there's segments of truth there, but you know the rest didn't happen. Like perfect example, like you said, CyberSqueak, with the Paula thing. Like, there's clearly something there, because there's bits that ring true, like as something, but the story he's telling doesn't make sense. Like, her boyfriend is not going to deliver her there, go and wait somewhere while they fucking come back and pick her up, unless they got some sort of, you know, like cuck fantasy or some shit. But usually that involves being in the room, because that's the whole thing about getting north. So that bit is not true. Like that bit's clearly not true. But he's lied so much. It's like the LJ thing. I mean, everyone knows that LJ's not real, you know. But in him saying that, I mean, I think because he's saying, you know, I want to talk to her, I've got questions, that kind of stuff. The rational part of his brain must know that this isn't good for me, because this isn't real. This person doesn't exist, this kind of thing. I didn't have sex with her. He has to know that. But I think he is genuinely confused, because he's told that many different stories. So he wanted to talk to her, because he wanted to see what was there. You know, was there some kind of, we hung out, I got so drunk I've forgotten, and we had sex. Like, he doesn't know, because he's told so many lies.
Yeah, he can't keep his shit straight anymore.
Christ, never.
He genuinely doesn't know.
He can't remember.
Yeah, but
what
there's-
he just
there's a
fucking
little-
said, which is funny. Like when
Give him 3 years. Give him 3 years.
What? You guys, I mean, he can't keep his shit straight. You guys have seen the picture.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Oh,
that's the other thing.
kick them out. I'm done with you.
I gotta go throw up. Bye.
I need eye bleach. Why did you do this to me? I can't.
He's got a
see
gaping hole
his
on
ass.
her bye.
So yeah, that kind of segues us into sort of the next topic we wanted to talk about. So that was all about Paula. So Guru has a topic. So why don't you fill us in on that, Guru?
Yes. So, I go back and forth on this, but I genuinely think that sometimes Lorne forgets that he's a virgin. And I was just thinking about LJ, so it's interesting that you brought it up, because I genuinely believe that he was like, oh shit, I have a kid. But then there are times where he kind of remembers or knows he's lying. Like in one of the recent Casey calls, she asks him, can you hear the shit that's going on outside my house?
A little bit, but
Not
it's fine.
really.
Yeah, it sounds like a Xerox machine.
Okay. Sorry, I have no idea what just happened. Fuck off! Shut the fuck up! Oh my god! I promise you it is not. Yeah, so... Oh shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, right. she asked him a question like, did you have sex with Paula, or you're lying about it? And he just goes, oh God, no.
Yeah.
And that laugh and response, I can't stop like tracking linguistically when Lorne says things, and that means he knows he's lying. But then again, I do genuinely feel like sometimes he believes that he fucked Paula, and I'm just like curious what y'all think, what your opinions are on not only Paula, but just is he a virgin or not?
I think
if I may, I think that he like has these distinct personalities that exist. Like he is a totally different person with probation and with his catfish and with the real, like at work, as we heard with the call where he talked to his boss while he was in prison. So I think he oscillates between these different personas, and the person who's talking to the catfish is a sex beast. He's been laid so many times, he had all these, he toe fucked a woman or whatever. But in real life, the actual real version of him is totally a virgin. So that cognitive dissonance that he has between these different versions of himself is where like he has to laugh and like reorient himself back into, oh shit, I'm this Lorne now. That's what I think. So I think
you could say he has a weird dichotomy.
Oh my God, get out.
I was gonna say, I think Lorne has damaged his brain so much from drinking that he doesn't know. Like he doesn't know. Like he just has no idea at this point. I also think that it's very possible that he could have gotten so blackout drunk with somebody that he doesn't know what they did the night before. And it's not like he's gonna be like, did we have sex? Like if he ever did have any interaction with a woman, which I think is very, very rare, there's a good chance that if they blacked out, he probably has no idea. I think he's a virgin though.
That actually, like, I think that's what happened with Paula. I think that she stayed over the night at his brother's house while he was having a party, and then Lorne stayed at his brother's house, and they woke up together. He got blackout drunk. They both slept on a couple of couches, and he assumed that they slept together. These puzzle pieces together.
I agree with that. I think same theory as Squeak, where like I think he got blackout drunk. He might have gotten blackout drunk a few times and woke up in the same apartment as a woman and assumed that they slept together. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that he doesn't know if a woman has more than one clitoris. Come on.
That call
we
is
so
funny when
he doesn't know the parts.
When he disguises.
That's the problem with it. He might think that, like, you could be like, I don't know what you're talking about, so they might have multiple. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I kind of give him a little pass on that.
But
even with the okay, listen. Especially, even with we're gonna go from a standpoint of like, listen, we're going from a standpoint of somebody of somebody who's dealt with men. Even if you deal with a guy who has no idea where the clitoris is or no idea how to pleasure a woman, they all know that women have one clitoris. There's never ever been any confusion on that. They all know there's one clitoris.
Weak, I got something to tell you.
Oh no.
No, I said this before. I legitimately know a guy who thought that there was more than one, and he thought that we got our periods out of one of the clitoris.
No.
Yeah.
I did find Lorne's disguising of like, yeah, I know they have one, but do they? Like the way that he tries to come off as knowing, but also
I always thought they had one.
I always thought they had one.
So do they?
Do they? Yeah, it's like it's like
he also thinks
the
they have one hole or
whatever.
It's got the same.
They have one hole, like so.
Well, they have a cloaca. That's what it is. Hey, you took my joke. I just said that.
Well, I think it's got the same energy as somebody that's like, well, yeah, I knew that. I totally knew that. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Well, my favorite, I bring it up a lot, is it's a Debbie call, and she goes, do you know what Kim Kardashian's doing? He goes, no. And she goes, she's helping getting people out of jail. And he goes, yeah, I know. Like, he just said he didn't know. She says it, and he goes, yeah, I know. That's classic Lorne.
See, I'd agree with y'all, though, about... Oh, sorry. Go.
Oh, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna pair it. Yes, I agree. Drunk brain, bad memory. I mean, he has ruined his brain in so many ways. I can understand the memory loss thing.
He can't even get.
I was just agreeing. I have nothing to add.
Sober, like imagine him drunk.
Since the new calls, I've actually been thinking about this quite a bit. Now, before I say what I'm going to say, everyone.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Just stay calm, alright?
Cornville's about to say some really bad shit right now.
Pick him, Slash.
I'm listening.
Click.
Have a few deep breaths. Everyone in the chat, there's a few...
Let him get through it, guys.
With the context... With the context
you're literally living up to that simp for Debbie name, aren't you, Cornville? Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Go ahead.
I think I have, with the new calls, I still think he's a virgin, but I have moved from thinking there is 100% chance he is to, there is an outside chance that he isn't, or at least thinks he isn't, depending on what your... I think it depends on what your version of virginity is, like what your version of sex is, and more so what Lorne's version is. So if you view that, to say that you've, to class that you've lost your virginity as, sex to completion, or at least, kind of going like, then yeah, I still think he's 100% a virgin, but there is elements of that story he has told to Casey that I believe there are some truth there, because when Lorne's lying, it's most of the time, but he is always looks really good in his lie. He is always the hero. Now, even Lorne must understand when he says that, basically, he started having sex, she got off me, pulled up her panties and called her boyfriend. That doesn't look good for him. Like, there is no aspect where you can go, oh, you fucking stud. You've finished her off so quickly. Like, he knows that. And so I believe there could be an element of truth there. It could also be Lorne's just, so much more rat cunning than we realise, as he thinks, if I cast myself as not the hero here, it gives it an element of authenticity, but I don't think he is smart enough to do that. So what I think could have possibly happened is that, maybe Paula's really drunk, like kind of similar to the scenarios you were saying before. Everyone's gone out, her and Lorne are alone. Maybe she's had too much to drink and she's like, I need to go and lie down. He goes in there with her. Bad decisions happen when you're not fit, and maybe something kind of starts, but he can't get it up, get it in, and she basically says, "Look, this obviously isn't happening. I'm gonna go," and he views that in his mind.
I'd love to watch that.
I could give him this, like, maybe somebody touched his wiener through his pants. Yeah, like that's the most I'll give him.
It's not sex.
I don't think so.
I didn't say it was sex. I didn't say it was sex. No. I said the most he's gotten is a touch on the wiener through the pants.
He's had a foot jibber
by accident.
He shoved his toe up her vagina. Like, she gave him a foot jibber with her foot. Like,
did you just call it a foot jibber? A foot jibber.
You've never heard of foot jibber?
That makes my...
What?
See, that makes my point. Like, that story about the toe fucking, that's bullshit. It's clearly bullshit.
Someone else's story.
Because
that's not true.
It's against...
Right.
And it's against physics. Like, it doesn't work. Like, he didn't toe fuck. He didn't toe fuck anyone. But there is an element to the Paula story that... Now, like I'm saying, I think that's the most that could happen. And for me... he hasn't lost his virginity there. He was not able, if that story has any element of truth, like the scenario I just came out, but what I am saying is I think Lorne would view that as losing his virginity. There was some kind of sexual contact outside of him sitting alone in his disgusting trailer, jerking off to thoughts of 9-year-olds. So he would view that as... sex. So that is what I'm saying. That's why I asked everyone to stay calm. I'm not saying he isn't a virgin. I'm saying
does he view...
I don't know what you mean. I think in... Oh. But...
No, go ahead, Guru.
I actually... Initially, when you were talking, I was just like... I think I misunderstood you, and I'm just like, no, Lorne is such a traditionalist that, like, I don't think that he would believe anything other than penetration is sex. But that last part you said made me think of in his documents from rape class, where they ask him to detail his sexual experiences, and he starts listing girls he kissed when he was a child. And now that you're saying this, I can kind of going back to my theory. Yes, I can totally see how he would think that he's not a virgin simply because of someone accidentally touching his dick or a girl telling him you look cute. God knows what the fuck. Yeah, I hadn't even thought of it that way. That's a really good point. It's a very good... Yeah, exactly.
You have to remember, like, two things. A, exactly right, Gary, what you said. Like, you know, he's relaying sexual history of kissing someone as sexual history. And, like, this is the same person that lost his shit about, you know, the doctor touching Ramona's knee, like, as if that was some sign of sexual contact. So his version of sexual contact is different to the average person. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he...
Yes!
And on top of that, we always look, and it's, you know, I think it's a combination of we all rightfully hate Lorne, so you want the worst for him, and him being a 50-year-old version is obviously very bad. I mean, what I also think too, in a lot of ways, if he had a sexual attraction to adults and he chooses, like, that even makes him worse. Like, if it turned out one day we found out he wasn't a virgin, that doesn't make him better, and in fact, it makes it worse. But that's besides the point. But what I'm trying to get at is that, like, we would think there's no way, whoever Paula is, there's no way she would have, you know, willingly gone to have sex with him. But I think if you're really, really drunk, it's in a dark room and that kind of thing, I could see a scenario where maybe Paula goes, oh, you know what, whatever. But then, you know, he can't get it hard, and because why I come back to, if there wasn't something there, why does he say, you know, basically we started and then she got up and left? Like, that is an awful look for him in his, you know, Lorne Armstrong super stud.
I think
you know,
it's supposed to be a bad
fucking a new girl every night type thing.
She made the first move and made me have sex with her, but then she, like, teased me and got up and left. Like,
I think it's supposed to be damning towards Paula.
Damning against Paula because he hates her.
Interesting.
Well, he says in the call that he's loved her for 25 years, which is absolutely fucking insane, but... I disagree. I don't think he thinks it's casting him in the, well, not in the best. I think he
might be too stupid to realize it makes him look bad.
Right? Yeah.
Definitely.
That's fair. Like I'm saying, and everything with this, you know, these are why they're theories and that, because we're never going to know. Because the only way, like, if he has had any kind of sexual contact, the only option is Paula. That's in my mind. And the only way we're ever going to know for sure is if we ever talk to Paula, which isn't going to happen. So we're never going to know. But with that new calls, definitely, you know, there was something there. But, like, I'm not saying that he's not a virgin. So everyone, that I just think it's to consider.
I have a quick question. Oh, sorry. No, Nuggies, you go first.
Thanks, go ahead.
I wanted to say that I think that Lorne, what he does is he looks at, like, whenever he's thinking of a woman and, like, what makes her a slut, that would be something like with Ramona and the knee touching thing. And so he, like, turns that back on himself. So, like, that constitute as sex, because that would make him a player, but it would make her a whore, and so that would be like him thinking that he's losing his virginity over something like a kiss,
touching someone's hand.
How many times does touch your hand?
You think
that is poor behavior?
When he goes to Chick-fil-A, he thinks he has sex with the cashier every time when they cut your hand and get your money back. He's like, oh.
He just thinks it's orgies all around.
Yeah, orgies. Yeah, it's like, really? You guys are doing that in daylight?
He has started focusing in the case he calls on, you know, how many times did he touch your hand? So maybe he does see a bit of, like,
Jesus,
like, you know, like you say, you know, exchanging cash and they touch, and he's like, oh, you are a saucy minx.
That would be sad if we found out. Like, I don't know if there's a Chick-fil-A anywhere near him, but, like, that's the only place someone will touch his hand and he takes that as intimacy. So he's, like, going bankrupt, and buying Chick-fil-A just so they can cup his hand.
He couldn't afford Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is like, that's fine dining.
They accidentally touched hands, and he's like, look, I really appreciate you, and you're a very attractive woman, but I do have a girlfriend.
and back with
like,
a poem.
Sir, you need to take your change now.
And
He's reading a poem in the fucking drive-through window.
First off,
Took a long time to get this chicken sandwich through.
That's what I was gonna do.
Well, that does remind me of a story that he tells about Nikki, where it was something along the lines of, because, you know, like, Nikki used him and all this stuff, which she kind of did, but Lorne's still bad, like, thinking that they were in a relationship. But
he was 19 and he was like 42.
Right. I mean, she did take money. Like, two things can be true. I don't want to get in the whole Nikki debate, but the thing that I brought me up is that he takes her to dinner and they go to the big fancy fucking Burger King, and then he's like, and then we pulled up to the window and they said $8.65, and I turned and looked at her and put my hand out. And like, he thinks that makes him look good. And like, it's not even like a man paying for a woman thing. It's just general courtesy when you're like, let's go get something to eat, to at least offer to pay. He just got up at the window and went to put his hand out to her, like she had no.
Like, he didn't even he didn't clarify like before they even ordered.
Like, if I ask a friend, like, do you want to go to the movies or do you want to go get something to eat? Like, typically me asking and taking him there, like, I would pay for it, you know. But like, just to like, if I would say, hey, you want to go to the bar or something, and then get there, order a drink, and say, hey, pay for it. Like, that's just such a dick thing to do. But he thinks he's telling a great story, like, she was gold digging me and I wouldn't let her, even though he gave her like $2,000. Like, he draws
he
got
that $412 back.
He what?
Exactly. Which didn't happen. There's no way that any woman would get into a car with him. It's fucking insane.
That sounds scary.
Touch my hand when you took my fee, but I have a girlfriend, so it isn't a bee.
Cornville, get out.
Yes! That was amazing.
If by chance this relationship falls through, back to Chick-fil-A I'll come, right for you.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Nice.
Fucking shit.
He's good.
I need a full poem now, please. Well, okay.
Give him 15 minutes.
So I have a question, then I have a comment. My question is, have y'all watched Sean McClure's videos on
yes.
on Paula?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That whole situation is really what confused me. But I will say, y'all have really changed my mind now, because initially I was like, does this man know? Does he not know? What is going on in his brain? But I think all of y'all brought up really good points about how he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, and things that nobody would consider sexual are considered sexual to him. But then, you know, if that makes sense. So he's never, I think he's a virgin. That wasn't necessarily like the topic. I saw some people commenting, oh, he's totally virgin. Absolutely. I'm not saying that he's not. It's just more like, I think that he knows that he's not, but he doesn't believe it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yeah, absolutely.
He needs to think he's had sex, or else it will just crumble his reality apart.
And he's really good at making like pocket realities for himself. Like, look at these catfishes. That's the whole thing with Lorne.
I love
crazy how he thinks those are.
They're
obviously independent relationships in the story, but like, he knows he's been recorded hundreds and hundreds of hours of recordings. But I think I said this on another stream. He thinks he has like a clean slate with each one. So like, when he had Debbie was never, and he even like Heelborn brought it up yesterday in his Q&A, that don't tell me things because I don't want to fail my test. So like, he knows that his shit is bullshit. Like, he said, don't remind me of things or else I will fail my test. But it's like the thing where he does his, like, it was Casey and he's still on Paula. Even though Debbie talked to him at length about, you didn't have sex with Paula, which he admitted, and you didn't have a relationship, but he thinks he just has the, you know, clean the whiteboard and he can go back to his old shit. Like, I love how Casey 3 is a character that has heard the calls so that she can throw that shit back in his face, and then he has to warp it into, oh, they were fucking recording me again, huh? Like, it's her fault they recorded him, because then he can't say his bullshit. So if he really needs to believe his reality, that he is this great guy. He was a male slut who fucked in his truck and like all this shit because
Fuck his truck.
He knows it's bullshit, but he has to push that thing out, or else he will just crumble if he actually comes to terms with who he is.
Period.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Well.
It's fascinating how his fucking brain works.
So, yeah. Kind of, I guess it sort of will. I think these are virgin, just to get out that. So our next topic is kind of a dueling debate a little bit, but it still sort of warps into kind of the virginity debate. So we'll move on here. Nuggets, if you want to give your theory first, and then we will have your arch nemesis Reerg give his. So please go on.
Okay, so my theory is like about the fair. What I think happened, he told Casey or Debbie. It was Tiffany. Doesn't matter. It's Tiffany.
Yeah, it was Debbie.
I think it was Ramona.
He said that
Molly
would talk
Wasn't it Kayla?
I think it was Kayla. Yeah. Lorne told Debbie that Molly would tell him about boyfriends that she had. And so my theory is Molly would talk to him about male friends that she had, and it only probably took like a handful of times for him to get so jealous that he decided that he wanted to like catch her in the act, and that was why he went to the fair. And I can't remember who said this, but this is not my idea. Somebody mentioned that in all of Lorne's sex stories, he brings up Tony. And so Tony's in this story. Yeah, Tony's in this story. So either he's obviously lying about Tony, but like I think he's lying about his motives, because any story he has, Tony is involved.
Absolutely.
I agree. He's definitely lying about his motives. Like, I mean, clearly the whole, we was wanting to see each other in person.
We were just wanting to look at each other.
Real. Yeah.
It was a meeting place. We weren't meeting. It was a
meeting place.
It's one of the things I've laughed hardest about is when you think he understands and then he goes, "Okay, I get what you're saying. A meeting place." Like he pauses and then adds the place in, and like you think you just made ground with him, and he just completely like continues on. Like, oh man, that was great. But yeah, I think that, like it's great that you bring up the fair nugs, because I have a differing opinion on that, like what actually happened. But that I think
an incorrect opinion.
Well, we'll see. Well, we'll never know. But I just find the fair is like a linchpin point in the timeline of Lorne that is, I think it's a very, very important point in the history of Lorne's like predator ship or whatever. And before I guess we continue, now I want to hear Eel's incorrect opinion.
Oh, it's correct. I promise you will all believe me 100%. I can see it in my mind's eye so clearly. Here's exactly what happened. Okay, he's talking to Molly, but he can never let anybody go, right? So they decide not to date each other because she's talking to other people online, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're still talking, right? They're friends, quote unquote, but Lorne's keeping her, around so that he can hop back on whenever he wants. And she accidentally mentions that there's a fair in her town. Doesn't tell him what town she's in. Doesn't tell him what day the fair is. He finds out, he Googles it, looks it up online. And he goes there. Now, I don't think consciously he's thinking this, but subconsciously he's going, she doesn't expect me there. I'm going to show up. And if she's with another guy, either, my age or a little boy, then I'm going to be furious and I'm going to yell at her. I don't know if he'd confront her there with another man, but he was going to make sure that that's not what it is. So that's, I agree with you on that so far as that Nuggets. But if it wasn't a guy, if it was a little, like she said, she's going with her friend to the fair, like one of her little girlfriends. And I think if it was a little girl, he would be going to the fair, looking out on the fair concourse, and I can see it in my mind so clearly. He's wearing his hat. He's got that smile that he has in his Goodwill shopping thing, and he's got his jeans on. And he sees her across the fair, and he starts walking as fast as he can. And he says, and I quote, Yeah, didn't expect to see me here, did you? I can see it. I know that it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I know that that's what happened. You can't talk me out of it.
Like a horror movie.
I won't talk you out of it, Eel, because I agree 100%. I mean, I've always thought Tony didn't go with him.
No chance.
Do not believe Tony.
There's no way.
He doesn't even like
no
Tony.
way.
Why would he bring Tony with him? He doesn't
like him. That's the important
Yeah.
He's not his friend.
And that is all.
Period.
I think you're like, I literally couldn't agree more. I think it was talking about other guys, and so there was to check on him, and then like you say, if everything was good, if she's just there, it'd be like woohoo, like. But the Tony thing, that because the way that Tony, not Tony, the way that this was presented to Lorne was like, hey Lorne, look, we've actually spoken to Molly, so I want you to let you know that because I don't want you to lie. And so Lorne's mind would have been going a mile an hour right then, because he's thinking, what do they know? Like, what has Molly said? Now, so that's why Tony came in, because Tony was his alibi. Like, he needed to have a way to say, look, this is all that's happened. We did, and if you don't believe me, ask
so
Tony. And what would have happened?
Tony.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And what would happen if they called him on that? If they said, okay, you know what, Lorne, I don't believe you. I want to talk to Tony so he can verify this. It would have been much like what happened with fucking Jenny from Walmart.
Yeah.
It would have been like, okay, I'm not going to give you Tony's number, but I'll call him and I'll get him on three-way. He would have hung up, and either he would have run back and said, why the fuck are you doing this? Or it would have been a call to Tony, be like, Tony, you can't ask any questions, but I just need you to say that you went there with me.
I don't think Tony
wouldn't have called Tony.
I don't think Tony would agree with that.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't have called Tony. There's no way.
The risk of not getting
he's deflected.
Would have deflected.
Totally.
100%.
Why are you
Totally.
doing this to
Why are you
us?
doing this to us?
But yeah, in any case, Tony wasn't there, and it's just because he didn't know, and that really paints a much darker picture, because he, with Lorne, I always, with his lies, you've got to go, there's kind of best case scenario, worst case scenario. Best case scenario is he was just being creepy. He went to the fair, and Molly said, look, I was talking to Lorne for a bit, but he was at the fair. It was really, really weird, and my friends and I left. And so, that still looks really bad for him, but that's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is he was stalking her and that kind of thing, and he believes that they're talking to Molly, so he believes that Molly said, yeah, Lorne stalked me, Lorne did this and that, but so he needs to be able to say, Tony was there, Tony knows I didn't do it.
I think Tony was there to vouch for him, and I also, in the story that he tells, I think that Tony was supposed to be a vouch, but I also think that he was supposed to add credibility to Lorne's actions. Like, here's my friend, he agrees with what I wanted to do and tagged along, therefore I can't be totally crazy for my actions.
And blame Tony,
It's so
have
creepy.
Sex with a child, I wouldn't bring another man, kind of thing.
I mean, maybe he straight up just wants to say that Tony weren't a great person, baby. Like, I mean, maybe he's just pulling one of those.
Like,
No, I don't think that's what it was.
No.
I think it was just, look, I brought another person, so I had no bad intentions. See, there was another person with me, so I couldn't have thought about doing anything bad. Total bullshit.
If Tony did come, like, so let's, in the reality that Tony...
Tony what?
What?
You what?
You what? If Tony did come... hopefully he didn't.
Wow.
So there's a couple of things. So like Amanda James says, and I think somebody brought up his reasoning for Tony coming is a classic Lorne made up thing. Like, he was partying too much and he wanted some rest. It just doesn't make any sense. It's such a classic Lorne sort of...
Why even add a motive to it?
Right.
Because Lorne is one of those people... Okay, Lorne is one of those people who... when you deal with a liar and they feel the need to over-embellish their story so that you believe them, that's what Lorne's doing. That's what Lorne's doing.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and also he's really bad at thinking on his feet. So like, well, I brought Tony, and Tony went to do this thing, and he were doing this other thing. So like, it's adding time that he can make up the story down the road. He's just stating
right, CPU is processing. So he's like, just spit some words out here. So so I've always thought, because like the way Lorne talks, I believe he met Molly. Like I do think he at least saw her and met her. So. What Lorne, because Lorne knows, even to get, like, he's telling Debbie this because he thinks it'll eventually get him laid, so he's giving her some information. But even Lorne knows he's probably being recorded. He cannot admit to having sex with Molly. Like, he just can't. So if you know the way Lorne talks is, they'll ask him a question, he'll lie, they'll rebut, and then he'll lie again, and then like 5 minutes later he'll go, okay, I need to tell you something, and then say that he was lying and tells the truth. Lorne, once he gets to, he was there in the hotel and there where Molly was, he will not entertain anything else. So he totally puts up a roadblock. So it's...
yeah, especially with the whole, like, well, why couldn't you guys just meet somewhere else? He was like, well, I don't know. It's like, Lord, come on.
He didn't have her phone number because she didn't know he was coming.
Well,
that's why they couldn't meet somewhere else.
He said she called every hotel in the area, so he spoke to her on the phone up there. That's how he knew the fair was the wrong day. So he.
I mean, maybe.
How would she know? How would she know?
You know what? Here's my theory.
How would she know to call every hotel in the area? How would she know that? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
And also, we don't. Sorry, Squeak. I just want to quickly say before we went off that point, we don't know that the fair was on the other day. Like, that could just be Lorne saying, hey, I didn't stalk this kid because there was no fair to be at. Sorry, Squeak.
No, you're good. I was just going to say, like, for all we know, like, Molly was the one who was like, yeah, I called every hotel in the area looking for you, and she was just fucking lying.
Yeah, sort of being playful, like, jokingly. So that, yeah.
That's funny.
It just, like I said, the way Lorne talks, I just have that sinking feeling, like, in my chest that he at least met her, and I hope that's all it was, is that he met her at the fair, because if he got a hotel room, like, you don't want to think what may have happened. So, but
I don't think... he got a hotel room. I think that he saw her at the fair. She had the, deer in the headlights, like, holy shit, this fake online thing is real. This guy's insane. I'm terrified. Thank God I'm at a fair with hundreds of other people. I'm gonna get out of here. And Lorne was like, that was a good first meeting.
Do you guys think that was the first time he met someone?
Yes.
Or child specifically? Because I do.
Not necessarily.
No, I think there's a chance that, like, in Washington he may have, because he hung out as a 30-year-old man with his, like, 12-year-old nieces who probably had other
God.
So I
mean more like as the situation that happened, with Kayla, where this is a child that I've been talking to online. I don't have any other connections, like you were saying, his nieces, and he just decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna see this little kid. I feel like that would have been his first time, especially because he. No, I know, but I just mean.
No, I was just sorry. I was just continuing.
You're cool. I'm sorry. I'm a little like out of it right now. Yeah, I think I made my point. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Or asked my question.
Well, I mean, he might have gone.
I'm so tired.
But like, obviously he would never.
For some reason, I feel like it's just so.
Go ahead.
Oh, for some reason to me, it just really feels like. I would say it would be the first time because it is in such a public area where you can, if I'm thinking like a predator, you can have an exit strategy.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And kind of testing the waters.
With
right.
Kayla,
and so
like,
he already tried it.
So you
exactly,
right, yeah.
Exactly. So my assumption would be that would be the first situation because he is able to. He's already kind of a coward, and it's in an area wide enough where there's a bunch of people around. He can lie and be like, no, I was just going to the fair, and still have this chance to be a predator and see his prey. And I also think that if they had made eye contact, I think he would have enjoyed seeing her be afraid.
Oh, he would have.
Yeah, I can see
that.
Yep.
Oh my god.
See, the other thing is
to be
too,
in control.
Absolutely.
Yes, and look, and the other thing is too, like, you know, so much of this, you know, his story, like we can pretty confidently say is bullshit. But even right down to, you know, he tells the story about how they broke up. Is, you know, he caught her flashing another guy, and then down the track in the recent call, you know, more recently, he said, well, you know, she was flashing the whole, like she was showing the whole world her body, that kind of thing. But that's, for all we know, and what would make more sense to the story is kind of like, you know, Eel was saying, going up there and either she was with another boy there, you know, that kind of thing, or, you know, he did try to meet her and she's freaked out and she's either never talked to him again, or she's next time on a computer said, don't contact me anymore. In fact, if you do, I'm going to the police. Like, this was too weird for me. And so there was no catching her flashing another boy, but it's another case of Lorne kind of what I think about the Paula thing is, you know, that, you know, fucked me over. She's a fucking slut. So I'm going to tell everyone she was showing her body to everyone. That whole insecure male bullshit about, you know, if you're not fucking me, you're a fucking whore.
100%.
And that actually rolls into sort of, I guess, your theory because of like how he thinks as a predator and all that stuff. So Cornville, why don't you roll into what you brought?
So I mean, my theory is that Lorne, you know, in his days before he was caught on national TV, and the only reason he's not now is because he doesn't have the ability because of the monitoring, is and was a much more sophisticated predator. We give him credit for, based on the fact that he, you know, when you see him on NBC, he seems like such a goofy fuckhead, essentially. But because when you think about the stuff he did with Kayla, like, you know, the deleting your archives, making it so that you're invisible to everyone else, that kind of thing. Like he is not kind of. He's an idiot. Like, he wouldn't have come across these things himself. Like, I think if he was not talking to other pedophiles and that kind of thing, he doesn't know about deleting your archives. But all he thinks, you know, that's their little safe space. They can say whatever they want. Send as many dick pics as you want. No one's going to know. So at some point, he has learnt about, you know, that kind of stuff gets saved as archives. Unless you go in and delete it, it's going to sit there. So I think he talks about child porn. He talks about how he reckons that perverted justice sent him that, and I was about to say
that, yeah,
and I think that's a kind of thing where he, you know, whether or not, because what kind of was filed against him in that they're only, and you know, he talks about, well, you know, they production of child pornography stuff based on my camera, and that they could have also had evidence in there about stuff they found on his computer. So this is well, you know, if that ever came out, Lorne, why did you have CSAM if you're not that? It's like, oh, fucking perverted, just send to me. But that's all beside. But I think he was most likely, you know, in his online time, he was either part of a pedophile ring, or, you know, those kind of other chat rooms where pedophiles more openly talk about what they're doing, share images, that kind of stuff, because he picked this stuff up from somewhere. It's not just, you know, Lorne having a non-87 moment and being aware of what he needs to do. He's been, and on top of that, during, you know, he's gone through and he's done all this stuff, and then you have the whole, you know, oh, we need to break up on Yahoo and all this kind of stuff. Something led him to that. Like, and I think that's another pedophile saying, you know what they're doing on Yahoo? They're tracking this kind of stuff now. They're tracking IP addresses and all that kind of shit that he says. Like, so I feel he's been talking to someone about his plans, and they're like, need to make sure that, you know, it looks like communication has stopped.
I think that I agree that I think that he has had help. I don't think that it was necessarily like a ring of sorts. I think he probably just had creepy friends who were more experienced than him, and they didn't really they knew that it was illegal, but they didn't necessarily see it as something that was like wrong. Like, he wasn't sitting there, like, conniving, you know? I think that he was just conversing with his friend, and they didn't realize, like, just how sinister it was. And he got pointers that way.
I wouldn't have believed that he was, like... I almost kind of agree that he might have been part of some weird pedophile thing, based on the fact that he, like, in his new psych evaluation, he failed for looking up child pornography. Like, he looked it up. It wasn't just, you know, that it was, he sought it out. So I originally thought that he was just, you know, take all comers. Any female that would interact with him, he would fall in love with. But I do think that he has a preference for children now. And I think that maybe he was part of some disgusting pedophile thing.
I would agree with you on that. And one of the things that I've literally never thought about this as a topic, but that does make sense because you have to consider how these fuckers kind of find themselves in these situations, right? Like, maybe you have a fantasy and maybe you just I don't fucking know. These people have fantasies, right? But there's a difference between having a fantasy and then going online and actively seeking to fulfill it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's no way that he would have had the knowledge of taking photos. Like, he explicitly wanted to take photos of Kayla. And I feel like that idea would not have come to him organically necessarily without there being some sort of outside influence, or even like, hey, have you ever seen this? Or, hey, did you know that you could get this somehow? If that makes sense at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might have wanted.
I'm not a pedophile though, so I don't know how that works.
I mean, I think he would want to take a picture of it to, like, you know, memorialize it. But
I didn't think about that.
I don't know. I don't think he's conniving enough to, like, be a part of a community, if that makes any sense. Like, even in this, like, disgusting take all comers type of community that would have to exist.
Yeah, it is funny.
Pedophiles.
Imagine
I can't imagine
being rejected by pedophiles.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We don't want
this
your
guy's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, this guy's
He's one of those weirdos. He's
one of those weirdos. It is funny though how Lorne, because he is lazy. You know what I mean? Like, but it's so funny when it comes to trying to get a young kid. He's like very intent on learning and like the fact he knows how to delete an archive, change the name, show only online for somebody. Like, he doesn't know anything about the internet, but he knows how to do those very specific, I don't want to say advanced things, but not like somebody like a novice would sort of know. So, yeah, I do think somebody, like you guys said, I do think somebody he talked to somebody and they were like, hey, you know, you can get them to do this and blah, 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 blah. I don't think he came upon that as a thought himself, but when he does put his mind to it, it's really only when it comes to grooming kids. Like, you never see him ever really he doesn't finish anything he ever starts, except when it comes to grooming children, apparently.
I agree with Nuggets in the sense that I don't think he was specifically like looking for friends to trade material with and stuff like that. But I do think he was probably either he made friends with people from like the country music chat room, or we don't know like what his activity was aside from the country music chat room. So I mean, he very well could have made friends with somebody, and he's admitted himself that he would have sex with a 17-year-old. So he probably was like, oh yeah, I've been talking to all these teeny boppers, and they're like, you want to know how to get away with talking to these teeny boppers?
I just thought of something.
Go ahead.
Do you think he might have been in like a jailbait chat room?
Ooh, that's probably what it was. That's probably what it was. Yeah.
That's a thing? What does that mean?
It's the internet, baby.
It means...
Tell us all about your experience in jailbait chat rooms.
Oh my god. Guru, jailbait is essentially just like teenagers. And
it's people who are like
I know
barely...
what jailbait is.
I know what
I mean, like...
25-year-old having sex with a 13-year-old.
There's a specific chat room full. Fuck off.
Well, I mean,
Like
back then it was the Wild
specific-
West. I'm sure there was a
Sorry.
chat room for everything.
There was a lot
There was
of
a whole
times.
subreddit
Right.
called Jailbait that got
Yeah.
banned.
Oh, what? Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to
You
step
know
away for a
an
second, guys.
awful lot
What
about this.
theory are we discussing?
How you're
That.
a fucking dickhead.
Oh my god.
That's confirmed. Next theory.
We were saying that Lorne potentially was looking in like jailbait corners of the internet, and this is how he kind of got down that
But
rabbit
he's not
hole of.
proactive, though.
Right,
Is
I
the
think-
thing.
well,
I think it was just
somebody
I
told
incidental.
would
about it.
disagree with you on that. I would disagree with you on that. I think he is
be
proactive when
wrong.
it comes to. I think he's proactive when it comes to grooming children. I mean, all that shit that he went through
completely
just to
agree,
try and get
Jared.
with Kayla.
But then he would
Like-
send messages immediately
That's the-
after saying delete your archives. So he
He's
Oh,
an
he's
idiot.
still active.
So
He's
There's a
stupid,
difference.
though.
There's a difference
Proactive
between
and an idiot.
okay.
there's a difference between proactivity and stupidity. Like you can be stupid and be proactive. Like just because he doesn't
Yeah, look at
like
Eel.
anything, just because he doesn't do it well. Like
Yellow.
just because he completely failed at trying to have sex with Kayla doesn't mean he wasn't proactively and with every kind of ounce of his might trying to have sex with Kayla. Like, you know what I mean?
I think that was just a pattern. You know, he never gets out of patterns. I think Molly was like, I'm deleting my archives, and he was like, what's that? And then she explained it to him, and then
Ooh,
he was like,
what if she did?
how do you know? That's what I think. Yeah, I don't think that he can't work within a community structure of any kind.
I can
So
see that. Like, she was saying, like, not wanting to get in trouble by her parents. And she was like,
Yep.
oh, don't worry. Like, when we talk about this stuff, I delete my archive. And he's like, what? And then I completely agree, Eel. Yeah, that is probably, it's either he just happened to be talking to somebody and the subject came up, or it was Molly. Like, I don't think he went after himself. But that makes perfect sense.
Interesting.
That's sad though, because that would imply that she was probably groomed beforehand,
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
and they
Probably
told
was.
her to delete her archives.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
yeah, it is really.
You think
whole
Molly?
situation,
Sorry,
like you said.
do you think Molly deleting archives?
But like she was the one who taught Lorne that.
Well, if it was her,
Yeah.
if it was the family, because
Oh, I
I think
don't re-
Lorne
I don't
said
think
Molly.
so.
Well, that it would
I
imply
think
that she
Lorne
had been
was supposed to
previously
get
abused.
concerned.
Molly's
Right, and
computer
Lorne
was
would
the
get
family
concerned,
computer.
like,
and so it was like in the
Yeah.
hallway. So she would
Bingo.
want to, like, I don't think like she knew, like, I don't think she was thinking I'm gonna get in trouble because like I'm gonna get Lorne in trouble. She's just thinking I don't want to get in trouble if my parents see me
Right.
talking like this. So I think she figured it out. Yeah. Trouble by her
Interesting.
parents.
The world of the birds.
In trouble.
But could you imagine how long it took Molly to explain to Lorne what archives are and how to?
Oh
delete
my
them?
god! All
It was
right.
like a 2-week ongoing conversation between them. I swear.
I do agree. Obviously, my theory is that he was told this by other pedophiles, but like, regardless, whether it was that or Molly, it would have been a hard conversation. It'd be, it's like, okay, so you've got to make sure that they're gone. They're gone. I don't see them. No, you've got to go into the archives. There's
Gone.
nothing here. I'm telling you.
Deleted.
No, Lorne, you need to go and select archive from the settings. Where's the settings? No, okay, Lorne, just
See,
listen
that's
to
what
me
I'm
here.
saying. No pedophile would be
Your
that
grandma how to
generous
use
with
the
their computer
computer.
knowledge. No pedophile would sit there not talking to a child for hours on end explaining how to delete their archives. That doesn't make
I mean,
any
kids-
sense, Cornville.
Kids have to sleep, Eel. Like, maybe that's when they
Not
had their lessons.
not when they're talking to Lorne. You got to talk to him
That's right.
all day.
Damn
Oh
straight.
god.
Just
should
Should
really,
not be
Talking to
Roxy
Derek?
Forensic Files.
just really quickly.
We all know what that means.
If anybody in the chat has like a theory that they have, please post it in the chat. We could also discuss that. I just want to, because not everybody reads
Yeah.
the chat. I just put it in there. I just wanted to say, if you're just listening, if you have a theory or anything, please put it in the chat, and we can also talk about it.
I have a theory.
Oh my
Lauren
God.
killed the dinosaurs. Thoughts?
He killed the dinosaurs, and he's using their fossils as his teeth.
Oh my god.
It's funny. One of those weirdos brought up a kind of an interesting point. Why does Lorne make Emma everyone's best friend? I think it's because she will vouch for Lorne on anything. So if it's like, this person is your best friend, which means you should trust them implicitly, so she will back me up. So she is your best friend. So she's
also his eyes.
I agree, and that's exactly what I was going to say, Nuggies. She will spy on people for Lorne.
That's yes.
So and sorry, I interrupted you.
How dare you?
Okay, well, I'm
How
really
dare
glad I
you?
interrupted you now.
Who is
I'm going to continue interrupting. But that is the thing, because he views, like, you know, best friends, especially like, you know, best girlfriends or whatever, they're going to gossip to each other. So if, you know, Ramona or Debbie or whoever are best friends with Emma, Emma's gonna find out if she's cheating on him. Like, you know, they're gonna be like, oh, Emma, you know, don't tell Lorne, but there's this really, really attractive therapist that I'm talking to, and, you know, I can't wait for him to bang me. And then she's gonna be like, oh, you can't do that to Lorne. And then, like, Lorne, Ramona's gonna fuck the therapist. Like, I think that's what it's about.
I also think he really enjoyed.
Jamie.
I also think that he really enjoyed the praise and attention that Emma would give him, because she had a massive crush on him and would talk about it all the time to him, and I think he really enjoyed getting that external validation.
And also, Lorne's the main character of the universe, and Emma is his best friend, so by extension, Emma must be everyone else's best friend.
I mean, you joke, but I really think that's a...
Me too.
Inside the realm.
Yep.
Inside
oh my god, Cornville.
The realm. So the Cornhole3way, which is a much better name than Cornville3way, we didn't really
agree, it is.
What?
It is, I agree.
We didn't get to touch on this earlier when we were talking about him, like, not really. I do find it interesting. What do you guys think about Melissa coming to his trailer with her pregnant friend and him saying that he had his nephew Cawd with him? They were drinking beers, even though I think he was like 19. Lorne's feeding him beer. Do you think she was 19? Or I think he said 19.
No.
Do you think?
No way. No.
I don't even think he was hanging out with his nephew. He doesn't like his nephew.
I don't think so either.
Right.
It's always funny when people like, for me, it's funny when people say, oh, you know, he was given his you know, his nephew alcohol when he was 19, like, because the legal drinking age here is 18. So I'm like, what? He was giving him alcohol a year after he was allowed to drink? What a monster! but yeah, it's pretty funny.
The drinking age in Florida is
like that in Wisconsin too.
In Florida.
It is, yeah, because we've seceded from America now.
Oh, okay.
We're now
finally.
Thank God. Thank God.
Oh no!
Can we have the alligators
Where
back?
are we going to get alligators and people high on bath salts? That's an important import to the rest of America.
I mean, you can get the bath salts in Arkansas.
No ladders
in Arkansas?
You listen
no,
here.
You can't get ladders.
Arkansas is #1 in bath salts.
What you mean? What you mean, Arkansas? America, explain.
Arkansas. America, explain.
Why it says Kansas and not Arkansas? And this is okay.
The market is oversaturated with that.
What was the question again?
They're all taking apart the ladder.
Or something about
Melissa and her friend, like her coming to his trailer, and Lorne said he didn't know she was coming, which I find to be a lie. But
he probably invited her.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure he did. But I think Lorne is trying to say she just showed up. I think he's trying to make it seem like she liked me so much that she just wanted to come and hang out with me, even though I'm sure he begged her to come.
Here's what I think happened.
That's what 19.
Okay, I need a Cornville, please. I need the floor. I'm in the middle of talking right now. Here's what I think happened.
These aliens come to Earth and steal NBA players' basketball powers.
Oh my God!
Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes to recruit Michael Jordan and beat them to save Earth.
That's what I think happened. We're talking about Space Jam, right?
No, that's what Jamie thinks happened.
Oh, right.
I do love that. It's so funny the way that it's up to Bugs Bunny.
Okay, back to you, Cord.
Word.
You menace.
I can't remember what I was saying now.
Well, I don't think she was 19. There's no way that she was overage.
Oh, definitely not.
And he gave her like an open invitation. Right. He gave her an open invitation to his trailer. She wanted some booze. She's probably going to like some parties or something. Like, hey, maybe we could swing. She's probably already kind of drunk. Hey, this guy would give me some free booze. Went to his trailer, hung out with him for 20 minutes, left with her boyfriend. That's how it happened.
And he was like, I gave her beer. That means we're dating.
Yep.
And you can imagine regardless of what age, you can imagine what he would be like when he would be like he was on the couch in the Sting house. He'd be like
oh yeah,
giddy, and
he'd ask for the Bud Light and he'd say, "Can I get a kiss first? Get a kiss first?
Want a kiss first? You want me to go get my stuff? Present I gave you?
It's a 6-pack.
Well, what is it? Well, I can't tell you.
Can't tell you.
President, I told you. Fucking asshole.
I wasn't getting you any Budweiser. Lorne, you specifically said you were going to give me beer. That's why I've come here.
Well, we know she don't do so good on Budweiser.
The poem Lorne wrote says, do you think a reason why Lorne deflects so much when he's caught drink driving, as some idiot would say, is because he thinks he is being recorded deep down or doesn't want probation to find out? No, I think he deflects because he thinks he's completely justified in his actions. So I don't think he cares. Not that he
Well, he thinks that he can get away with it.
Right.
Well,
it's just why
he also doesn't.
Everything.
He also doesn't want his woman chewing him out. That's a specific thing he always says is,
Yes.
you'll yell at me.
Right now.
He does want that. He loves that.
Right.
That means you care.
Because every time he's being caught, it's him who's caught himself. Like, he's the one that,
that Ramona call.
either tells them... Yeah, like, oh, you're gonna
chew me out.
If he didn't say anything, she wouldn't have fucking known. Because that's like if you're getting, he views that, if you're getting yelled at, that's because Ramona, or that's because they care about him. Like, if they didn't care about me, they wouldn't. Missing the point that the reason they're mad
exactly
is because you can kill people.
Well, I think you guys are forgetting that Lorne doesn't drive drunk. Silent Rick takes him where he wants to go.
That's true.
That call is
That
very
free
funny,
ballet.
but then absolutely infuriating when he goes, "I'll speed up." Like it makes me punch him through his chest. Like, and the fact that he thinks he's totally justified just because Roy is drunk at his mother's house. Like, he's even if that were true and that really was Lorne on the phone, all he's doing is like just making a noise. It's
that's right.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, like, if we can talk about, like, okay, I would have sympathy if he was an alcoholic, but, like, I think if Roy went to prison and one of his terms of probation, like, he got released and he was on probation, if one of his terms of probation was that he couldn't drink, he'd be back in jail within the week, because he's an alcoholic. Lorne is not an alcoholic. Clearly, he can stop. He just didn't want to follow the rules of probation. So, him drunk driving and him continuing to drink despite it being against his probation says nothing about his, like, innate ability to not quit his alcoholism. It says everything about his lack of respect for probation and the law and the terms of and conditions of his release.
Well, wasn't one of the first things he did when he got out of prison was to buy a pack of cigarettes just because they wouldn't let him
throw
smoke?
it in his face. Throw it in the man's face. Like...
Which is bullshit. That was just, he said that to make himself seem tough, but
right, he had quit.
He did it because he just wanted.
He had quit. Like, I know you can
but the craving's still there.
You can get cigarettes in prison, but one, Lorne doesn't have the money, and he's also a bitch, so they probably would think he would tattle on them, or go to the guards and be like, he get the cigarettes, and then be like, they have cigarettes over there, and then get them confiscated so that he's in good with the guards. Like, this is exactly right.
Oh, Lorne is the biggest snitch, and I'm
surprised his whole journal was him snitching. Like, it's just...
Right.
He also would cave so easily, too. Like, if he was asked about the people probably didn't talk to him about shit, because they knew if there was 1 minute where he was going to be interrogated, he'd break down crying and be like, oh,
I never even meant to do it. Lorne, you've been getting cigarettes from another inmate for 8 months in a row? Yeah, but I didn't want to do it. I don't know why I did that.
Well, he paid his Nazi illustrator in cigarettes.
Oh my god!
I don't know.
Nuggets, how's that book coming?
I'm still working on character designs. I want it to look real nice.
So thanks, Anne brings up a point that we all know Lorne started his channel because he thought we were fans of him for like his talent and things like that, because he is an entertaining person, but he is not entertaining. So they asked, does Lorne know yet that he is infamous and not famous?
He can't comprehend subtleties like that.
Right.
He doesn't get it.
In the most recent Casey call, he brings up like, because you and me were famous. Like he still thinks. I mean, even in that Mama Gwen call where he's like, I don't care as long as they give me money. Like he does think he is a celebrity, and he's not. He's
honorable celebrity.
So he to this day thinks he is.
I mean transmission.
Because like he always brings up, my fucking YouTube channel, I've been on it in 3 years, and it's got 250,000 clicks. Like, so he
thinks it's another dichotomy. It's another weird oscillation. He thinks he's famous with like the reputable people, and then with the the people who are sitting in front of their computer with tubs of sugar or whatever he said. Those people. Yeah, those people think he's infamous. But the upstanding people who can see deep down in his soul that he's a good person, despite all of the evidence, those are the people who think he's famous.
I mean, I don't think he cares. 100% care. Like, this shouldn't be Cawd Bar. This should just be, Cornville3way and Guru agree. Like, because that's pretty much what this is. But definitely, you know, because you'll say it better than me.
Oh, I just don't think he cares. I think for Lorne, his entire life, the only thing he ever wanted is attention. And so maybe, he does, his ego is so big, maybe at some point, at the end of the day, he's going to cry about it and be upset. But also, there's a part of him that's like, this is great. People care about me. People are giving me attention, even if it's negative attention. I don't think he cares.
He totally got neglected as a kid. I think that's why he was.
Yes.
Well,
and I think he's really.
So being from a big family like Lorne,
I don't know.
So I come from a family with 7 kids. So he 5, but still, what?
Holy. Oh, I didn't know that. That's a lot of people. Wow.
Yeah, I have 6 brothers, so there's 7 of us total. So, like, it is obviously it is hard for a parent, especially because Dale wasn't his dad. He was a father figure and somebody to take care of him, but he wasn't like his father. So, Mama Gwen apparently, was working all the time. The way Lorne tells these stories is that the bulk of his, like intimacy or getting attention was from his siblings. The way he still holds on to the stories about how his sister would pick through his hair for bugs and stuff. Like that is probably, he brings it up all the time because that's probably the most intimacy he had as a kid. So he holds on to it that, that is like,
it's kind of sad.
So it
is sad.
It is hard for, and people like, obviously now we're all adults, but like as kids, you may get jealous that you don't get to see your parents enough, or maybe another kid has more attention and stuff like that. So it is different though, because Lorne is the baby, and typically the baby is the most coddled. So for his mom to apparently not really give him any time, even though he was the baby, it's kind of funny to me. But yeah, it is.
Well,
yeah. Yeah.
I think he was coddled, but I still think he was neglected. Like, I don't think his mother gave him much attention, but when she did, it was just to placate him.
Yes, it
like
was
those
just
dogs.
Him, like throwing a tantrum.
We're so spoiled.
Spoiled by dogs.
Well, honestly, though, that's kind of I kind of. This is a little bit off topic, but for me at least, I think that's why he thinks he's spoiling his dogs. Is that connection? But then on top of that, like we were talking about, the question about, if he knows that people don't like him, I think that was the question, or if he cares. I believe that he doesn't care because he keeps talking to these catfish. He knows he's going to be recorded. You know what I mean?
Trying
and
to
it's just like
And he's a good guy. He does care what they think. Like, he'll take any attention, but he wants it to be good attention.
And in terms of caring in that, because what it comes down, and it's because Lorne projects everything on everyone else, and so Lorne loves the attention. So I don't think he sees a difference between fame and infamy. But on top of that, like in his mind, which is inexplicable, but he believes he is a good person. He believes this shit about, he is fundamentally a good person. Anything bad he's done, there are reasons for it. And so the people that, he's told support him, like he would see that as, the fame part of it. People can see he's a good person deep down. The people that hate him, which, he would could look as infamy, he doesn't really distinguish that, because the reason they hate him is because issues with them. The reasons they think he's a pedophile is because they're actually pedophiles, and so they would look at, those actions as something bad because they feel bad about the way they are. So it's not an issue with Lorne, it's an issue with everyone that hates him.
Yeah, well.
Would hate
another
Lorne.
blow to Lorne.
I'm
Lorne's
just such
never
a
done
bad
anything
person.
to anyone in his entire life.
Everyone else is so fucking perfect.
Oh, that is so frustrating when he brings that shit up. It's like,
Reflection.
And like I always said before, that's how he justifies. As long as he said, like when he says, "I'm quitting smoking," like for Jamie, as long as he says that out loud repeatedly, he believes it, because then when he's confronted about it, he can say, "Well, I'm not perfect." So because nobody is perfect means you can mess up and it's okay. So he thinks it's
and
it's total.
Yeah.
That's not right. It's
that's
not
on
true,
top of that. That's because that's how a child argues is deflection and refusing to take accountability. Like when he says stuff like, "Yeah, well, okay, I'm not perfect, but nobody's perfect. Look at these people here. Look at the other people in my class," because that's how, like,
look how you treat me.
Children can't take accountability. Like that's not something that their brain lets them do. So it's like two brothers, if they're fighting and one of them punches the other brother in the head, and so they're the one that are getting in trouble from their parents. They'll say, "Oh yeah," and then that whole yeah, but you love him more than me, because that's what Lorne does. It's like, "Oh yeah, everyone's better than me." Like, no, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about you just punched your brother in the head. We're not talking about your brother didn't do his book report or this kind of shit. We're trying to deal with this, and it's like it's the same as. That's what I mean, this is only top of my mind because I'm listening to a lot of the positions in the recent Alex Jones trial, and that's exactly what he does. Like it's the same kind of thing. When he's asked about, okay, why did you say these things when you knew that the families were being harassed? Why did you not stop it? Well, mainstream media lies all the time, and this and this and this. Like, no, we are asking you why you did this. Tell us. And that's the same thing you have to do with Lorne. You have to constantly say to him, "No, I don't care about that. I want to know why you thought it was okay for you to try to have sex with this kid or for you to drive drunk. I don't care that other people drive drunk, because I'm not talking to the other people that drive drunk. I'm talking to you." But you can't win with people like this.
I was gonna say that book report and punching like people. I thought that sounded a little too close to home, because you were getting very fired up about it. I thought you were recalling something from your childhood.
And then another thing with my brother. Let me tell you,
that guy.
Punch him.
I agree. Fuck that guy.
Punch him, Nick.
Punch him, Nick. So I do, because I think you guys have given your opinion on this before, but I do like it that does Lorne know this is fake? And my opinion is that he doesn't think that, like, well, at the time, like Winnie and Emma, like that it's a character. Like, he thinks that those are two separate people, but in my opinion, he knows he's being reached out with to fuck with. But he thinks he's so charming, and when you spend time with him, you'll love him, that he will take it on even at the risk of being recorded, because he thinks he's this great guy that will win you over and you'll come and have sex with him. So he knows it's bullshit, But it is partially either
it.
this or loneliness, but also it's the other side that he thinks he is this great person that he will win even the catfish over, and they will eventually come to be like, you know what, Lorne? Just like when he says with Ramona, but you fell for me, huh? Like, even after she called him a pedophile and terrible and all that stuff, they immediately...
Do you love me or do you love Corey?
Like, did you love me when you were with
He's
Corey?
He's playing his video games. He doesn't know that we're talking right now.
Right. So what do you guys think?
Fuck off here. I already said my opinion on that. I think he has different, versions of himself. I think deep down he knows it's all fake. I think he legitimately trusted Emma, but everyone else, he's kind of felt like it was fake. But he embodies that version of himself and the fake reality that version of himself embodies. So, like, I think deep down he knows they're all fake, but he does take on these different characters that believe that it's real. It's really fucked up psychology shit, but that's what I think.
This is kind of adjacent to that, but like I think that he thinks that the characters themselves are fucking with him. So like for instance with the ritual call, I don't think he thinks that he was being fucked with like a catfish. I think that he thinks that the character Winnie wanted to fuck with him, and so was just like crying into the phone and talking about like this pigeon beak or whatever. So I think I was just because you brought it is funny that he says after it apparently like, well, that was fucking weird, that was fake or whatever, because during the call he's not even paying attention, like he's like working, like because you hear this crazy shit happening and he's like
give the beak, give Matilda
like,
the beak, baby.
He just doesn't even respond to anything. So it is funny that he
when he's fucking crawling on the ceiling and floating and
in
shit.
The air, her eyes are turning red. Like
don't float too high, baby. You'll hit the ceiling fan.
Well, if Matilda says it's not good, so you gotta give her the beak, even though I just said you could have the beak.
I completely agree with what Nuggy said there, is that it's he I don't think he's ever doubted that these people are real, but like I mean it's like in the TSA call halfway through he says, oh, this is bullshit. Like he's not saying that this is bullshit and that you're not Casey, you're someone that's playing with. He's saying that yes, you are Casey, but you're not actually at an airport right now. I mean he goes on to believe it, but it's because he wouldn't doubt that these people would be wanting to talk to him, because he believes he's a good guy. He believes he's attractive. He believes he's got all these qualities. So he's never thought.
Sorry,
charming and charismatic.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say that the funniest part, like that's one of my more funny moments, when she finally gets to the gate and Emma hands her the phone and. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna get here," and then you just hear Dan in the background go, "Come over here!" Like,
who's that?
That's what's so great about TSA call, because it's just like Lorne's hopes sinking the whole time. Like the start of this call, he thinks it's finally happening. He thinks that Casey Morrow, the person that he met at the Sting House, is coming out there. Like they're literally in the car on the way to the airport. So he's thinking in a matter of hours, all my dreams are coming true, and just little by little,
he was so excited.
Like it's gonna happen. There's points where it looks like it's back on track, and then like you say, Dan's like, "Oi, come over here." Or, they're back out again. Now there's dogs chasing her. Like, it gets more and more and more till, eventually it's not happening again. And it's back to sad Lorne.
I think legit, like, even if he knows it's all real, I think, I could see him thinking he could change the catfish's minds, but at the same time, I think he's just lonely. He doesn't have any friends. His family doesn't like him.
Hobbies.
Yeah, or hobbies.
Yeah, hobbies. He does nothing.
That's
the only thing he has. That and fixing up his trailer.
No, I think
he
puts
also in.
Sorry, Guru.
I'm really interested. We should do a mental health stream on him, because I have a lot of theories. But I mean, he's a narcissist, and there's a classic type of narcissism where he's the center of attention. He's going to do everything that he can to keep the center of attention, bringing people down to bring himself up. I also think that he's a specific type of narcissist where he is vulnerable, which is a kind of a form of not being able to take criticism, having a really like fragile and unstable sense of like oneself. And so I think having these relationships online and having a persona that's being projected are bad, that's just feeding his narcissism in any way that it'll take it. And I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but that's what I've been thinking. Is just he's a narcissist and he will do anything to satiate that.
I can agree with that, and I think too, like I think he subconsciously puts up barriers in his mind that him from looking too far behind the curtain. So seem odd. He doesn't really, and that's why when we've often joked about that the few times where he actually has kind of said, you know, like for instance, like where Debbie came, the Debbie character came in and he's like, you know, hang on, I've talked to you before, I know that voice. And I mean, he was easily able to be told there was no, but the times where he's really cracked down on stuff, he's blind drunk. And I think that's, see, with reverse, like, because usually, like, you know, you're not as aware when you're drunk, but because he's so drunk, those subconscious barriers are gone. Like, he is actively, like, subconsciously, but he's actively keeping those up. He's actively keeping this, you know, don't look too far behind the curtain because this works for you. I'm not saying I think he knows that, like, he knows it's fake and he's just going, no, Lorne, just ignore it. I think his mind does that, but when he's drunk, those are down. Like, his mind is in an altered state, so it can't keep doing that. So that's where he starts to kind of question the things that are a bit odd. And then he wakes up the next morning, hungover, on his way to sobriety, and has no knowledge of it.
I never called you a bitch.
Right, yeah.
I never said that.
Doesn't sound like me.
And it's just funny. Like he does. It's not. He's not actively looking for those things, but it is funny when he is drunk. Like I don't know how to say this. It's not like he is calling it out as bullshit, but he just calls out the storylines and plots and characters like incidentally.
Yeah.
Where it's like, who's talking, Emma or Winnie? Like only when he's drunk can he not differentiate the voices. But that's the only time he ever brings it up. So it's not that he's listening and being like, wait a minute, why do you guys sound alike? It's you guys do sound alike, and realizing that it's a character. Not that he's realizing his character, but realizing that the voices are similar. But when he's not drunk, he just pushes that all aside. But like he said, because he's drunk, he can't really fire all those neurons in his brain. So it's like he can't keep that veil of it's not bullshit up.
Well, yeah, no, I think a perfect example of that is the whole chat log. You know what I mean? Like he got all those different pictures, like each one is a different kid essentially, and the whole time he never questions that. But the one time he really questioned it, it was all about, you know, tell me why this one has the pretty little gap between their teeth. He was blind fucking drunk, and so that was where right. he wasn't able to kind of keep deluding himself, and that's when he's kind of gone, oh, this is really, really fucked up. Like, it wasn't in the times where he was, you know, just home from work and sober and all this kind of stuff that he was questioning that. He was getting all these things and it was all just happy days. It was when he was drunk where he was like, you know, tell me this, because his brain doesn't have that block and it's kind of going, Lord, this is pretty fucking weird.
He's basically begging her to reassure, like what, you know,
reinsure him.
Not, I don't think, because he says, I think you're the same person, but why is there? He's begging, like, please give a good, valid enough story that I can, like, still. Not that he's pretending, but he just, because he's drunk, he needs her to reassure the story. And that's
that what you're saying there about he wants to be, he's begging to be reassured. There's no better example of that than post breakup Ramona. Like, he's been broken up, he's been told that, oh, I'm not Ramona, I have been catfishing you, I hate you, you're a disgusting pedophile. Then when they talk again, of whatever down the track, he's saying stuff like, you know, okay, okay, you've got a girlfriend and that, a boyfriend and that, but, you know, you talked to me for that long. There must be something there. Like, he's
you
literally
must have
saying,
feelings for
please tell me that, you know, you developed feelings for me. Like, he's begging for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the song?
I'm
That you ruined?
Begging.
Like the first one.
Put your fucking name down. Lorne almost.
I wrote this
song,
one, baby.
but
I wrote this one after a breakup.
I hate how he only it's funny. It's classic Lorne that he only knows the begging. Like he only knows begging in the whole song, and he's probably dancing for like weeks. And he's like, begging, and that's it. He doesn't say anything. All right, so I guess does anybody have any final things that they want to bring up?
Fuck Lorne.
Fuck Lorne. Yes, that's
Yeah.
Flash is a cuck.
Let me pull up my
Yeah,
entire.
I agree. Actually, let's discuss that theory. / being a cuck.
Let me pull
I've got a few.
Let me
I
pull
have
up my-
evidence to prove it is in fact true.
This bottle of soy milk, for instance.
Oh, can anybody hear Cornville? Oh no.
Did you mute it?
Did not. Did you? Oh, okay.
There he is.
Yeah.
Here, Winnie.
Yeah, you can't hear me.
I can hear you now.
You couldn't before because I was in the other room with your wife. Boom!
Ooh, damn.
Wow. I think one of the things that I can take away from this whole conversation is that he's so what was an unreliable reporter. We'll
Narrator.
just never know. But narrator, thank you. But that's kind of the fun of it too. Is just we get to sit here, we get to have all these different bullshit theories about some loser and have a good time. And that's the magic of Lorne for me. Because we'll just never know.
None of us have any insider information, and I believe all of your versions of what we are hearing about way more than Lorne's.
Yeah, exactly.
I know one truth. Lorne's version of these things is definitely not true.
We also have more insight into his fucking way of thinking and idea of going about the world just because of all the recordings, and he has no idea how to self-analyze at all. None.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, in that case, I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Like I said in the beginning, we did our Lorne stream together, so we wanted to roll that into this. So this was a lot of fun. I hope it seemed like people in the chat enjoyed it, so I hope everybody enjoyed it. But does anybody have anything they want to announce, like streams or anything, before we go?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Nobody? Nothing up in the track?
Okay. I will not be streaming, so I'd like to announce
I'm not streaming.
Thank you for informing us, Ethan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've been thinking about streaming because I've never done like a standalone Lorne stream on my own, but not sure which video to listen to yet. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. You can pick any video. They're all gold.
No, right?
Yeah, whichever. I will put after we post here, I will have links to everybody's channel in the description. So please subscribe to Reerg so you can not watch him stream. But Nuggets has started streaming, so she does like a draw stream. So
that's so nice.
Does like some art pieces and listens to stuff. So, and she doesn't pause every 3 seconds like me. So I'm sure you would enjoy it a lot better.
She is totally wrong about her analysis of Lorne every single time. So just be warned about that, everyone.
Okay, Eel.
Yeah, Eel.
That's all I gotta say. Okay, you're right.
What?
Good, yo.
Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us. I hope we'll probably do this again because this was a lot of fun.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I'm down.
Again, thanks everybody for coming. I hope you guys have a good night.
Bye.
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 Delete your archives.
Have you ever heard of the Beatles?
I think so.
Okay, well, it sounds exactly like the Beatles used to sound.
Why don't you sing for me?
Okay, are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Hey, love. Hey, love. You sound so sweet.
Aww.
Hey, love. Hey, love. Oh, no. You sound so sweet. Yeah, I'm okay. I still got that chest cold hanging on to me a little bit.
I'm sorry. That's okay. I still love you.
Oh, good. You better.
Sing for me.
Let me finish my sandwich. Hear me chewing?
What kind of sandwich is it?
Bologna. Did you hear me chewing?
Yeah.
Yee. Ayla. Ayla. You sound so sweet. Ayla. Ayla. You sound so sweet.
Thank you.
Are you anxious to touch my penis? My precious little princess.
Lawrence, you're so sweet. I like it when you call me that.
Huh? Huh?
I like it when you call me that.
Huh? Huh?
I like it when you call me that.
Huh? Huh?
Why don't you sing for me?
Okay, well, it sounds exactly like the Beatles used to sound.
Okay.
Okay, love. Hey, love. You sound so sweet.
Wow.
Hey, love. Hey, love. You are so precious.
Thank you. What do you think?
I'm thinking I wish I was there with you right now. If I was, you'd be naked.
What?
Well,
What?
well,
What?
You must really like me to want to talk to me that long.
I gotta go.
Okay, why are you rushing?
Why does it sound like you're putting makeup on? Why are you putting makeup on at this time of night? 12:30 at night? Why? You better not be putting makeup on for that son of a bitch.
Little bit.
Why the fuck do you want to look good for this motherfucker? To cheat on your boyfriend?
Uh-huh.
You planning on fucking making out with a fucking doctor?
Uh-huh.
You are putting fucking makeup on for the fucking doctor.
Uh-huh.
Why would she do this, Hans?
Is that motherfucking Leo? Is it fucking Leo? Are you fucking cheating on me?
Little bit.
The fucking shit.